Okay, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about something that I don't talk about very often at all. I haven't told this story in a long, long time. I'm going to talk about my near-death experience. Some of you have heard this. I have told the story publicly a couple of times. It's been, a few years, I believe. But I don't like telling it. I really don't. Mainly because I think it sounds stupid. I honestly do. Back before this happened to me, if I would have heard somebody telling this story, I wouldn't have believed it. Ironically, I have loved near-death experience literature. I was obsessed with it. So that's another reason why I don't really like the story of my near-death experience, because it's not quite like the really awesome near-death experiences that you hear people tell about seeing this beautiful light and feeling this love and seeing the meaning of life and all that. I didn't experience that. Now, it makes sense as to why. Because it was a suicide attempt. It was a suicide attempt. I was at the lowest point in my entire journey. Okay? Now, here we go. Let's go back to November 2014. It was before Thanksgiving. I had connected with somebody through Facebook because we had a mutual friend that overdosed on heroin and died. So through the comments, me and this woman ended up talking. I don't really fully, totally remember exactly how or why we were talking, but it started out in the comment sections, then it moved to the inbox, and then we were texting each other, and we didn't know each other, but we had a mutual friend who had just passed away. So at this point in time in my life, I was a blithering alcoholic. I fought alcoholism my whole adult life. But it was starting to impact my work as well. I had just recently left my first marriage, my ex-wife. I'd left her and started drinking even heavier than I was before, and I got suspended from work for showing up with alcohol in my breath. And right around this time, I get suspended from work for like a week, and I'm bored. I have nothing to do. So I invite this woman over to my house just to have some company. Well, the house that I moved into, it was a house that was divided up into two apartments. There was one half in the front and one half in the back. And the person that lived there before me died in there, and people hear that and they get a little bit freaked out. So I told her this. I was like, hey, right before I moved in, the lady that was in here died here in the living room. She said, oh, really? You want to talk to her? Do what? You want to talk to her? I know how to get Ouija boards to work. I swear. So I'm like, fucking Ouija boards? What are you talking about? But I was like, okay, well, I've never experienced that before. Shit, why not? I mean, this woman was a drinker too, so we were just drinking. I'm talking just bottles of vodka, not socially drinking a couple of beers, pounding hard liquor, And so she takes this, I think it was a pizza box, honestly, like a pizza box, and makes this Ouija board. And she makes this Ouija board out of a pizza box and a beer bottle cap. Not like one of these, it was like one of the metal beer bottle caps, and starts asking it questions. She's like, here, put your fingers on it, and starts asking it questions. And this thing is moving like crazy. And I'm thinking this is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life, because this thing is moving hard. But I was like, man, she's doing that. But I didn't know her very well. So I wasn't really comfortable enough with her to say this is fucking stupid. I didn't want to embarrass her, So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how am I going to find a way out of this? This feels really awkward and really weird and really stupid. So I said, okay, well, let me ask it a question. Are you a spirit that knows me? And it said, yes. I said, all right, what's your name? And it spelled the name of my dead grandmother. And I about shit my pants. This lady didn't know me. This woman that made this Ouija board, she didn't know anything about me. Didn't know anything about me, nothing about my family. I just met her. You know, my grandmother passed away when I was 16 years old. She raised me. I was raised by my grandparents, you know, and it spelled her name, Jeanette. Jeanette. Not the most common name in the world, you know? So I was like, whoa, we got to stop this right now. She goes, why? I said, that's my grandma's name. She said, oh shit, we're talking to your grandma? I said, no, hail to the no. Absolutely not. There is no way. My grandma would roll over in her grave if she even knew I was doing this right now. She would never communicate to me through a Ouija board. Hell no. So we did. We tore it up, threw it away, and my house went crazy. I'm not making, I know this sounds so, it's embarrassing to even hear me to hear myself telling this story. It's embarrassing. My house went crazy. But I was so drunk. I was just drinking hard liquor from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed. So I would just sit around and watch it. Peanut butter jars fly off the shelf, cabinet doors slam, black balls of energy shooting through. You know, I see a black energy ball just roll across the living room floor and down the hall, you know. And I mean, you've drank a fifth or two of vodka. A fifth or two, yes. I was a very heavy drinker. Just sitting back watching it like, whoa, dude. You know? So anyway, about, I don't even know how many days later, 3 days later, 4 days later, something. We were sitting in the kitchen. And I don't really remember exactly how the conversation got started, but I do remember thinking, I'm out of here. Done with this life. I've been considering it. I've been thinking very heavily about suicide for months and months and months. Fantasizing about it. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to actually do it. I don't really remember. I kind of sort of remember. My next conscious memory, I had this cellar in that house. Okay, it was a very small, teeny tiny little cellar with a dirt floor. It was really, really creepy looking, dude. Like really creepy. Bricks on the walls that were all falling out, dirt floor. And apparently that's where I went down, tied a belt around one of the rafters on the ceiling and hung myself with it. I don't really remember doing that. My next conscious memory, I'm inside the wall of my cellar. I'm inside the wall. And all around me and all behind me, everywhere, is nothing but a black void of nothingness that I'm just suspended in. And I can kind of see through what was like the veil that leads into this dimension. And it was kind of blurry. It was almost like looking through that clear plastic wrap that construction workers put on buildings, you know? It was kind of blurry. I couldn't really see what was going on, but I could tell that that was my cellar. And I was like from the vantage point of inside the wall. But there was no thought. There was no thought process of, oh my God, where am I at? How did I get here? What am I doing here? What's going on here? There was none of that. I was just there. And I looked to the left of me, and there were what looked like about 7, 8, 9 beings. People. They looked like people. I guess they took the form of people. And they were all talking to me at the same time in my head. They were all talking to me, and I could clearly understand them all and respond to them all simultaneously in my head. They would just look at me, and I could hear everything they were saying in my head. And there is no fucking way in the world that I would be able to, like, tell you the whole conversation. I don't even remember that, bro. But just to summarize, basically what they were saying to me was, you invited us in here, and we are pure, undiluted, concentrated negative energy is what we are. And you invited us in here. We're not here to hurt you. We're not mad at you. We are negative energy. It was made known to me that the same energy that creates anger, frustration, irritation, jealousy, hatred, that was what they were. And somehow they conveyed that to me, and that I invited them in. Again, there was no thought process. There was no fear. I wasn't scared. There was no emotion. There was no nothing. There was just awareness. I was just aware that this is where I am and this is what's happening. You know? Then I started getting kind of a little bit bored with that. And I remember looking through that veil into this dimension and thinking, I wonder what's that way. And the minute that I thought that, I shot straight through there, through my cellar and through the other wall. And this is where I was in what I can only kind of remember as being like a meadow. You know, like a nature-y like meadow. And I was seeing myself from multiple different perspectives at the same time. Like I could see it from looking this way, looking at myself over there, you know, from the side, from behind me, from a bird's eye view, and from my eyes, all at the same time. And there was this other entity. When I say entity, it was like a person, you know, who was standing across from me, like bitching at me. And I kind of took this entity to be like a father figure. You know, it felt kind of like a father figure. I don't know who it was though, because my dad wasn't even dead at that point. He's dead now, but he wasn't dead at that point. And essentially, this being was like bitching at me. Like, you idiot. What the hell are you doing? That wasn't the words verbatim, but essentially that was the point. You idiot. What are you doing? You know you're not supposed to be doing that stupid shit. It's going to take, and I don't remember how it was worded or how this message was conveyed to me, but it's going to take some type of magic or spell work in order to get all that shit out of your house that you invited in there. You know, I don't remember the verbatim words or how it was worded, but it was like a message that was conveyed to me that I translated into English, you know? And right around that time, I'm waking up in my bed. And that woman was sitting at the foot of my bed crying and screaming. You don't know what you just put me through. You don't know what I just went through. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Man, I just had the weirdest dream. And she told me, you hung yourself and I had to cut you down and do CPR on you. Your tongue was hanging out. Your face was white as a sheet. You stopped breathing and your heart stopped beating. And I had to revive you and do CPR on you and bring you back. I said, you are so full of shit. She said, go look in the mirror. I went and looked in the mirror and there was a big gash on my neck. Big gash where the belt cut me. And I went and looked in the mirror and I was like, I'll be damned. Are you serious, dude? Whoa, holy hell. Now, that wasn't my last suicide attempt. I did attempt it one more time after that. 5 months later, the following April. And after that failed, then I completely awakened up out of that state of depression that I was in, and haven't been suicidal since. But that's my near-death experience. I don't like that story. I really don't. I don't like telling it. I don't like hearing myself tell it. I wish I had a cool near-death experience like everybody else, you know? Oh man, I saw the light and whoop-de-whoop, and I felt the love, and I understood all the secrets of the universe and all that awesome shit, but I'm thinking, I feel in my soul like I was in such a low frequency. I mean, I was in such a low frequency state that was all. I didn't go all the way to the other side. I just barely went one little density over. Like just basically right next to this density. I wasn't vibrating high enough to make it all the way over to the other side. You know, I was at such a low frequency that, I mean, I think I was in that realm where what you would consider to be ghosts hang out, you know? I didn't see any ghosts. Well, I don't know. I guess you could call what I saw. I don't know what you would call that. Evil spirits. It's not the way, it wasn't what I would have pictured as being evil spirits though, because the beings that I communicated with, when I would think of evil spirit, I would think of something that was angry and here to hurt you. And these weren't. They didn't have any intentions. They were just negativity, you know? And they made that very clear to me. I don't have any intentions of harming you. I don't have any intentions of hurting you. I am just pure negative energy. The same energy that manifests into feelings of hatred, anger, bitterness. I am that energy. And you invited me in. So, you know what I'm saying? So, that's it. Those of you who have heard me tell that story before, it hasn't evolved any. There's like, I've heard people before who tell near-death experiences who say that, oh man, it took me 5 years, 10 years, and then the memories slowly started coming back, and it took me that long to process it. Not for me. It hasn't evolved into anything. It's still the same story since day one. But anyway, that's my near-death experience. Maybe somebody got something out of that. I don't really know. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here now. Thanks for tuning in and listening to me blab. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day.